in order to have success. And so that's the number one mistake. And so that's why we started this group, is because we wanted people to what? To get started. And we know that if you have a community, it's easier that way. You know, when you're doing it by yourself, it seems very daunting, you know, but just to have someone to call and just to have someone who say, hey, I've gone through that, or I've done whatever else, is the reason why we started. One of the reasons why we started this group. So that's number one.
All right. Number two, thou shalt not go it alone, which you just talked about.
Yeah, you need a team, you know. So we said last month you need a team of attorneys, realtors, tradespeople, so on and so forth. And so, you know, when we talk about a team, you know, real estate is a team sport. If all you got to do is look at a closing statement and see the amount of people who get paid off a real estate transaction, and you know there's a bunch of people. And so you're recognizing that you need an attorney, you're recognizing you need a realtor, you need wholesalers, you need general contractors, trades folks, you need insurance people, you need all of that, lawyers, attorneys. You know, you need all those in order to have a successful real estate investing business. And we always talk about the Noah's Ark theory, that, you know, you need 2 or 3 of everything. You know, I wouldn't say more than that, but, you know, think about our original contractor who did our first like 3 or 4 projects, actually did work on our primary home. You know, he had the nerve to move. How dare he? You know, so it was a tremendous loss for us, and obviously we were happy for him. And actually, we actually married him and his wife, and so they're good friends of ours. And so I was happy, but it was like, oh shoot, now we got to go find another contractor, another GC. And so what it did is made it stretch. And so now if I pulled up my phone, make sure I take my hand, don't ring. If I pulled up my phone, I would have a list of general contractors, a list of tradespeople, a list of everything. And so what you always want to do is you are always recruiting and always looking.
Where do you look? Where do you find these folks?
Well, the first place is through referrals. You know, that's the first place you should start. So usually if you're part of this group, you know, most people, they say, hey, either whether you call me Dexter or Pastor Dexter, but it depends on how we know each other. You know, I get text messages and emails all the time. Do you know a carpenter? Do you know a plumber? Do you need, you know? And so I would start with referrals or people that you know, and then other groups, because I'm part of this. Obviously, we run this group, but then I'm part of another RIA group, 2 other RIA groups actually. And so a lot of times you have people like that in those groups. Actually, the person who finished up our last project was someone I met at one of these groups. He was at a meeting and he said, hey man, if you ever need any carpentry work, give me a call. Just so happened, guess what? I needed something. And so I said, hey, look, man, come take a look at what we're doing. And then he and his team, actually had Marquise come and do a show for us. He and his team did a phenomenal job. They did quality work. The price was right. They did what they said they was going to do, you know, which if you ever talk to me, you hear me talk about general contractors, you know, you're looking for those who are reliable and capable. Those are the 2 things you're looking for. Someone, number one, who's what? Reliable, and then number 2, they got to be capable. And then I guess the other one I put probably available, because sometimes they're reliable and capable, they ain't available. You know, they may be, because if they're good, they're doing other projects, you know, and so that's why you need, you know, 2 and 3 and 4 in your Rolodex, because people may be busy. Actually, I'm thinking about the last project we did, the normal floor guy we used, he was out of the country.
Yep, he was gone for 3 months.
Yeah, he was gone for, you know, obviously I don't know what country he's from, but he's I won't be back until it was like 3 weeks later. I'm like, dude, I can't wait 3 weeks for you to come back to get this floor done. So like I'm telling you guys to do, I made one phone call. I said, hey, call Rob Nichols, who most of you guys know. Robert Nichols, he's been a guest on this show. Good friend. Actually, we went to his flip a couple months ago. I said, hey, Rob, you got a floor person? He texted me the guy. The guy came over, and he was fast. He did that thing like, I'll be there tomorrow. So he came the next day, looked at the job, and was there the next day and did it. He did a phenomenal job too. You know, so the point being is, you just need to build a team, and so that as to Kendra's question of number one is referrals, and then coming to places like that, and then you know, one that's sort of unorthodox is, you know, sometimes as you're driving around and you see people's trucks, I take a picture of it. You know, you sitting in traffic and you like this. And then, you call and have a conversation with the person. It may or may not
website,
work
yeah.
out. You go to their website and see if it's somebody you would want to do business with. And so those are three practical ways that you can begin to do that.
Excellent. Number 3, thou shalt always maintain consistent deal
Yeah,
flow.
well, deal flow, if you've been around us, we talk about the FFM formula, right? That if you want to have real estate investor success, number 1, you got to find deals. You got to, number 2, you got to fund deals, and then you got to monetize. Well, the first F is deal flow, and so, and it really depends on what you're trying to do, So consistent deal flow, if your goal, the great thing about real estate is what you want to do. So for somebody who wants to say, hey, they want to flip 20 houses in a year, well, their deal flow is different than somebody who just wants to, and I won't say just, who wants to add one a year onto their portfolio.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so whatever is good for you, you need to have consistent deal flow. And so that means that if you're going to get consistent deal flow, you want to always be networking, coming to events like this. You want to be talking to investor-friendly agents, real estate agents and realtors. We have one in audience today. Because every realtor or agent doesn't do what we do. They work strictly retail. But there are some who are smart enough to do both. I'm saying they're not smart enough, but in my opinion, do both of them. But, and so you want to do that. Then you also get a wholesaler list, and then there's also auctions, which are picking up. So actually you and I are going to an auction on tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon in Hyde Park. So if you're around and you guys got some time or you want to go check out our auction, we'll be there tomorrow in Hyde Park. I can give you the address later on. But you always have to be looking and then getting on lists. And so once you do that, they'll be sending them to you, and then you just decide what you want to do. So if you want to, like I said, flip a couple houses during a year, or you want to add one onto your portfolio, it just depends on what you do. But you gotta be looking for constant deals.
Excellent. Number 4, you should not overpay.
Ooh, Jesus, this is a whole class by itself. Thou shalt not overpay on the front end. Well, why is that important? And both of us can talk about that. Yeah. But, there are two sides of a real estate transaction. There's the acquisition side, and then there's the disposition side, right? And if you don't get it right on the acquisition side, trying to get rid of it is going to be a problem. So, and I will say this, all of us will make the mistake of overpaying on the property. You do this long enough, and so it's not the end of the world, but you want to make sure that you can't do that consistently. So what that simply means is when you are looking at just say, for instance, it's probably easier to do, I want to fix and flip, actually, because this really works, this only really applies to fix and flips. Correct. More so anything else. So if you're looking to fix and flip a project, so you have to buy it at a certain price, rehab it at a certain price, right? So you can sell it at a certain price. So the ARV, right? So if
make a profit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true, right? And make a profit after the ARV. So if I pay too much on the front end, I don't stand a chance of on the back end, because what you're trying to do is, because there, in my opinion, and other people may have different thoughts on this, I think there are 3 parts of it. So there's the purchase, then I have to manage the rehab properly, because that can get out of control real quick, with budgets and unforeseen things popping up. And then there's the sales side. And so if I don't buy it right on the front end, meaning I have to be realistic with my numbers. One of the mistakes that new people make is that they're too optimistic on the front end. And they can say, okay, well, if I buy it for 180, I can sell it for this on the other side. And they go with the high ARV. So just say there's a chance for them to sell that for $500,000, between $450,000 and $500,000. Well, they count on the $500,000, which is a mistake. What you want to do is always be conservative with your numbers. Repeat that, class. Always be conservative with your numbers, because anything can happen. The market can shift on you, which we've had happen, right? Recently had the market shifted in not only Massachusetts, but just across the country. COVID hit, that shifted the market. And so you always want to be very conservative with your numbers. And so there's usually formulas that you could come up with on the front end. But That's a big one. If anything else, if you get nothing else out of tonight outside of number one getting started, that would be number two, that you want to make sure that you're buying it right on the front end, because if you don't buy it right on the front end, now you're trying to scrimp and save and do things, and you may not come out with a good product. Now, like I said, it only works on a fix and flip, because on a buy and hold, you can almost pay market rate, or depending on whether you want the property, not over, because you're holding it for long term. You know what I mean? Yeah. As long as it's, I think, which is one of our things. As long as it's cash flowing, you'll have the cash flow, you have the appreciation, you'll have the tax benefit, all the things we'll talk about in a few seconds. So you can be a lot more liberal with your buying if you're a buy and hold investor. But if you're fixing and flipping, your numbers, you've got to be on them numbers like white on rice. you got to be on it, because if you make the mistake of overpaying, and then sometimes things happen, you start opening up walls, you don't know what you're gonna find. You thought it was this. I remember one of our projects in New Bedford, I thought we were gonna pay $60,000 to rehab it. Man, we're gonna pay like $100,000 to rehab that house. Because once you start opening up walls, now you got to bring everything up to code, and then it had cast iron pipe on the plumbing, so you got to turn that to PVC, and then we had to do what we had to all new electrical, and this is what we've learned is that anytime you're looking at a plumbing electrical, just stroke a check for 20 or 25 grand, just know you're gonna do that easily. You know what I mean? And so that's why I've got to be very conservative with my numbers up front, and then I've got to get really good at estimating what I think things are going to cost. Now, that takes some time to get there, but if you can cover yourself by doing well, purchasing right on the front end.
And always have a contingency.
Oh, 100%. That's part of your budget, yeah.
Play to the low end.
Yeah.
And if you get more, it's gravy.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 5, thou shalt not have only one exit.
Thou shalt not have only one
monetization
exit
strategy.
Yeah, because of so usually the three exit strategies the three big ones are wholesaling something, fixing and flipping something, and buying and holding. So those are the three, and you want to make sure that you're able to
Pivot.
Use at least one of those three, or maybe two of those three. Actually not one, because we said multiple. You want to have at least 2 or 3 things you can do with it. And so, when you are looking to purchase, say, a fix and flip, okay, what if the market changes on you? All right, so can I hold this in some capacity? So if it's a multifamily, even if it's a single, can I do some sort of short-term rental, or can I? There's a lot of programs coming up now where organizations are nonprofits are looking to rent from people who have homes and things of that nature. So can I partner with some visiting nurses? So I got to be thinking about that when I'm going through this process, because if I'm only thinking about having only one exit strategy, and the market shifts on me, or anything happens, you can be in trouble. And so I'm thinking about a couple of projects that I haven't been a part of, but I've heard people be a part of, and then the people. And then another thing, don't get in over your head. That's not on this.
Not on here, but yeah.
That should probably be number 11. Because what I find a lot of times is, what we used to say back in the day, that your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Your parents heard you say that to y'all. If I heard that before, yeah, And so when you're new. And some of the things, the projects that people are taking on, I'm like, dude, I wouldn't even take that on. And this is your first flip? Nah, so let's in many respects, let's crawl before we walk and run. You know what I mean? And so just be very careful with that. But anyway, back to our point on this.
Yep.
Yeah, you just want to look at many monetizations strategy, at least 2 that you can use in order to do that. Now we're in Massachusetts, so we got people who are watching from all over the country, and so it doesn't really work well here, but some do lease to own.
Correct.
In other places, they got other things that they do, and so it just depends on where It depends on where you
I
are.
think the biggest thing on that one is just being willing to pivot.
Oh God, yes.
That it's a business.
Yes.
And you need to be willing to pivot.
Yeah.
We had bought 2 houses within 2 weeks of each other. Just worked out that way. And one of them we wanted to rehab, but the market dried up for 2 families, and so it was advantageous for us to wholesale that house because this is a business.
And I was reluctant to do
were
it.
reluctant.
I'm just being transparent.
I'm like, we need to sell that house. He's like, no. And then our friend called us. He was like, you need to sell that house, a realtor friend.
Yeah.
And we did.
I'm like, no. I was like, I'm keeping both of them. And in hindsight, the second one would have been a lot more work than the first one that we had. And now we would have gotten it done, but it would have probably strained our resources a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so when my friend called and said, hey, man, I got somebody looking for a 2-family. Do you want to sell one of them? And I was like, well, if I'm going to sell one, I'm going to sell that one because the other one we had almost finished with. Mm-hmm. And then, I was saying, well, based on what we're doing, because some things we're doing, yes, I need something to point to. I said, so we'll sell that one. And we made a pretty good profit off that. So we ended up doing a wholesale by mistake on that one. So it is to your point of being willing to let things go. And then we had some recently, a person that we were consulting with, we thought it was going to go one way, and believe me,
it went a different way.
Went totally different the other way. And so, it comes a point, it comes a point where you do have to make hard choices at times and say, you know what I thought was going to work is not going to work in this. And so I got to be willing to let some things go, and
not be emotional about it,
and not be emotional about it, and so on and so forth, and so and now that one was a little bit different, not ours, but the one that we consulted on because it was a legacy play. Yeah. The person inherited the property, so now it's grandma's house, and she got all those things going on. But even with grandma's house, sometimes you got to let grandma's house go, because it makes sense to make grandma's house go.
Yep.
And that's
hard.
And that's hard. And it's a situation by situation place because I'm hearing now in the circles that I'm traveling, you never sell. Like, no, there are times to sell because it makes sense to sell at that particular point in time. We had a friend of ours, but a couple years ago when the market was like appreciating real crazy, and he and his wife were downsizing, and they were going to downsize and move to another state or do whatever else. And so they sold their house and moved to and rented an apartment for a year or two.
Mm-hmm. In their new area.
In the new area. And so they took the profit and ran. So I'm like, and now most of them, that makes no sense to rent. No, for them, it may, believe me, the check that they got at the closing, I'll gladly rent for a year or two based off what they received. And then now they end up buying something else. They live in the Gloucester area. Yeah. So it ended up turning out. And so, understand this is a business, y'all. But to your point, it's a business. And so sometimes you have to be willing to let some things go, even though you had one thought process going in. Now I got to make a shift and make a pivot.
And I think it's not on here, but what is the goal of your real estate business?
Correct.
Because if that is your North Star, you can make decisions more easily.
Yeah.
Is it to pay off your primary house? Is it to pay for your kids' college? Is it to what is
Retire mama,
what is the goal, so that way you can make those decisions more easily.
Correct.
Number 6, we will not speculate while analyzing a deal.
Yeah, and we started talking about it a little bit. The numbers are the numbers. So when it says that you ain't gonna make the money on, well, I can nope.
You're not gonna make the money. Yep.
Wrong answer. There's a nice consolation prize behind the curtain for you though. No speculation. I was talking to a guy who follows me, and I don't even know how he followed me anyway, but he and I got to a conversation last week, and we were talking about, he's in California, so he was like, I don't know nothing about California real estate because all real estate really is local.
Very much so.
And I said, well, I don't know nothing about California, but I said, whatever you buy, it better be cash flowing. Because I said, if it's not cash flowing, don't buy it. And so this thing of, because what people don't, when people don't buy for cash flow, they're counting on appreciation. Now, has real estate appreciated? Of course it has, but I don't want to count on that per se, where it causes me to do this, lose money every month or every year until it appreciates, because now I'm gambling. And so you want to make sure that it's at this is on the buy and hold side. You want to make sure that all your properties that you buy are cash flowing. Now the question becomes, what's an acceptable amount of cash flow? And the answer is, I don't know.
Depends on yourself.
It depends on your situation and what you're willing to work for. For some people, it's $300 a door. For some people, it's $500 a door. For some people, it's $1,000 a door. For some people, it's whatever else. And so it just depends on what you deem as reasonable profit for you. Now, in the beginning, I believe as long as it's cash flowing and you're learning, you're up, because this is a school of I have to learn by doing. So going back to our first one, people say, I was thinking about a couple people that I've talked to. I'm like, dude, the only way you learn how to deal with contractors is what? To deal with contractors.
Yep.
The only way you know how to flip a house is do what? Flip a house. So you can come to these classes and read books and all that, and all this is helpful because we give you sort of the conceptual piece of some things you need to get done, right? And so after some point, it's almost like trying to ride a bike in a classroom where you can't. At some point, you got to pedal. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with this, but you just want to make sure that you are not speculating. You're making sure that after the principal, insurance, taxes. You put some money away, all that there's cash. That's what cash flow is, meaning sure there's something extra after everybody else is paid off. You got some money left over for you. That means it's cash flowing. Got it? Yep. And so when you're able to do that, that means that you're able to stay in business because things are going to happen over a period of time.
Correct. And that's the buy and hold part of it. And the other speculation is make sure your numbers are accurate on your rehab and that you're not paying too much money. Number 7, we'll have multiple banking and money relationships.
Yeah, you're going to need a bunch of those. We talked about last month. There are 4 types of money that come your way that you can utilize. We said your own personal money, right? Mm-hmm. Then we talked about hard money. We talked about traditional money, and then there's private money. So those are the 4 that you use. So again, it's your own money that you saved up. So maybe you saved it up in your savings account or credit union or whatever. 401k money, IRA money. There are a lot of monies that you can tap into. Hard money, which we've had a couple of hard money lenders here. The benefits of that is that you can move faster. It's a higher interest rate, which scares people away. But our business is all about speed. So you're recognizing you're looking to be in hard money, maybe 12 months tops, 18 months tops. Then depending on how big the project is. But you're not looking to be in hard money long. And then traditional money. The problem with that is, it just moves slow.
Yes.
If you've ever had a lender fill out the paperwork, send me everything, including your left arm and your mama's social security, and so it just takes a while. So as we know, properties move fast. So by the time you done called your traditional lender and they send me this and go online and fill, man, that property gone. Been gone twice by the time your lender get back to you. Mm-hmm. So it's just not fast enough. And then private money is where, you have individuals who have money on the sideline. They have maybe they have some dollars in a savings account somewhere or a checking account or maybe some money in the HELOC. I'm thinking about a person that we saw in the summertime. She said, "Yeah, Dexter, I just got this HELOC. What do I do with it?" I said, "Well, we can help you. Use some of it to invest because it's like, having money in the HELOC is like having money in the savings account and you're not putting it to use. Yeah, so you don't have to use all of it, but if you can use a portion of it to buy some more assets or lend to other people when it comes back, you always want to have your money working for you, right? Mm-hmm. And so if your money is locked up in equity, which is good, but you have equity, but if it's not working for you, you want to make sure you can do that. And so you have people out there as you grow your reputation. So that's why I've always talked to you guys about letting people know what you do, letting people know that you're a real estate wealth creator. You're at events like this, take a picture. Hey, I'm over here with the incomparable Kendra and Dexter Jenkins. And of course, we're incomparable. Incomparable Kendra and Dexter Jenkins at the real estate meetup, And so what I found is that people are lurking and they're watching you. Mm-hmm. How many of y'all follow me online and you see a lot of my stuff? Well, y'all know what we do based off what me posting stuff. Hey, I'm over here in Hyde Park. I'm over here in Dorchester. I'm over here such and such. I was last week we were in Texas. Yep. We're in Texas speaking at this conference. So that I'm letting people know that I'm in the game, and that's what you have to do. You have to let people know that you're in the game, and then because what has to happen is when they think real estate, they got to think you. You got to be top of mind. So if I'm thinking about, oh man, I want to sell a house, well, I got to be thinking about Fitzroy. Well, the only way I know that Fitzroy does anything is because he does a very good job of posting stuff is because he posts. But a lot of times we're doing stuff and then people don't know what you're doing. And so when, oh, my mama wants to sell her house and I went to Jack Conway or whatever else. Well, dude, I didn't know you did anything because you was a secret agent, And so this is not a business. You could be a secret agent. And I think the intimidating part is this. You feel you don't know enough. I get it. Now, we ain't in church, but I'll just amen. Y'all can say amen on that. Y'all can say amen on that. You ain't in church, but you can say amen. You can say amen. I mean, and listen, you never get over that. I feel like that at times. I'm like, dude, because I get around people who are doing a lot more than us. Mm-hmm. And so, you guys know a good friend of ours is Tommy Jones. And so we were at his conference last week, and he spoke at our conference the last 2 years. Man, this man has done 300 flips. Over 300 flips. How many? 300. And I'm like, dang.
And investing in, 100 doors, 500 doors.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I don't think we may never get to 300 because obviously our call is different. We're full-time pastors and other stuff. So we just don't have the time to do what he does. But I'm like, dude, so I'm sitting up here like looking at the things we do. I'm sitting up here like, dang, he did. The brother that did. How many flips he did? And so you never get over that, but understand this, there's somebody who is behind you who knows less than you. Mm-hmm. Right? And so what you do is, now I know more than y'all, and so I'm teaching y'all, and I ain't trying to teach him nothing, but I can teach y'all. So just understand, and if you've been around this long enough, like some of you have, you know more than you think you know. Mm-hmm. And as you give out the knowledge that you have already, more comes to you. Y'all know this. That's a spiritual principle. It's called giving and what? Receiving. So as you begin to educate and teach people certain things, what begins to happen is your knowledge base begins to grow. And so you just want to make sure that you have, I don't know how to get on now banking relationships, but anyway.
It's okay.
You want to have a number of lenders that you're in contact with. So we've had 2 or 3 hard money lenders come through. We've had 1 or 2 traditional lenders come through. So if you're looking for some out there, well, here, just call me and I can recommend them to you. And you want to have a number of them because every lender doesn't lend on everything. Mm-hmm. So some lenders don't lend on commercial property, but they'll lend on this. Or some lenders don't lend outside Massachusetts, but they'll lend here. Or some don't lend. They lend here, but they won't lend in like Western Mass or Middle Mass because they don't know those markets. Mm-hmm. And so you have to have a number of them that you can tap into. Well, they'll lend here, but they won't lend in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. So it just depends. And then some are more stringent than on what they're looking for, and some are more lenient. So the more, and then some don't want to work with new lenders, new investors, and some will. Exactly. So the more that you have in your portfolio of people who you can tap into, the better off you'll be. So you want to have a number of lending, and believe me, they're looking for you because there are trillions of dollars on the sidelines that they're waiting to deploy. And so they're looking for people like this. And even not only us, I mean, not lenders, but the cities are and towns are looking for people like you and I. They're giving grants. A friend of mine, a friend of ours, Kadena Tate, she's been writing grants. And they've been depending on, because she's been working with a group of people in Arizona. And so certain towns in Arizona, because they're looking for more housing, what they're doing is they're asking you to submit a grant for what you want to build.
A proposal, yeah.
So and I've heard things like that. Even in Massachusetts starting to do that. Where they'll give you land for a short amount of money and you got to build and all that. And so my point being is, there are just a lot of people who are looking to do for us because we're problem solvers, mm-hmm. right? What's one of the biggest problems in any place? Housing. I don't care where you go. We've been to Texas. We've been to Houston is Texas. We've been to Dallas. We've been to Texas. I've been to Detroit. We were in South Carolina. I was in South Carolina earlier this month. Mm-hmm. Guess what I see every place I go? Homeless people. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go, there's homeless people. And so, and obviously it's sad because, and just my personal opinion, and you guys probably agree, in America, there should be nobody homeless. Particularly anybody, but then we're talking about our veterans, because we just thank you guys. If you're a veteran and you serve, thank you for your service. Come on, man, they went and served our country, and then they out there, they ain't got a place to stay, really? And so what they're doing is they're looking for people like you and I who can provide housing. Make sense?
It does. Number 8.
All right, let me breathe for a second. Any questions up? So those are the first 7. Yeah, that was a review. So those are the first 7 that we covered last month. Any questions, comments off of anything that we've talked about thus far, class?
Do you have any thoughts about getting?
Can you get the mic, please?
Any thoughts on how to get private money? I mean, I've heard about it, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, well, private money is individuals like this. There's friends and family and other high income, not necessarily high income, but a lot of times it's high income people who deal a lot of times they have the income, but they don't have the time. Got it? So if you're going to invest, you're going to invest either one or two things. You're going to either invest income, or you're either going to invest your money or invest your time. So I know people, hey, look, I want to invest, but I'm working 80 hours a week. And then I don't want to flip no house, I don't want to do whatever else, but I do have money to deploy. And so that's why I'm always trying to get you guys to post and let people know what you're doing. And then, and if you run across somebody who say, hey, look, I want to invest, we can get on a call with them and just share with them some things, because the great thing about private money is that you dictate the terms, right? Whereas on the other thing, you don't dictate the terms. You're coming to a lender, they're telling you this is what you're going to pay if you want to use our money. Exactly. Well, on the other side, on the private side, what you're doing is you're telling them, hey, look, if you give me, just say it's $50,000. You give me $50,000, I'll give you 6 to 8% or 9% or whatever you guys whatever agreement you come to, and I'll get you your money back in 6 months or 9 months, a year, whatever else. And so really, you're more in control as opposed to the other side. Got it? And so it just gets to a point where as you begin to get out there a little bit and let people know what you're doing, and then one of the things we'll be doing, particularly in New Year, is having investor meetings. And so you have people come to the room and who you think may have some money. And let me say this to you. Who you think have money may not, and those who you think may not do. So they ain't got the money. They're like, I got $150,000 sitting over here in the account. You like, you? Yeah, you, because they ain't out here flexing. They living very frugally and whatever else. They're not flashy. They ain't got the bling, but they saved their money. Or maybe they came into some sort of inheritance, or maybe somebody died and they got money. Hey, I don't know what to do with it. And so I think one of the key things about private money is you have to, and all of this, guys, you got to see yourself as an answer to somebody's prayer. So whether you're flipping a house, whether you're giving somebody housing, whether you're private money, people are looking for. I don't know how many times I've had people say, you know what, I've always wanted to learn how to do extra. I've always wanted. And then what you do is when you insert yourself into what the programs like this, or you go online or whatever else, you're the answer to someone's problem. So hopefully that answered your level. But there's a lot of private money. And now we haven't used private money as of yet. That's one of our next areas of growth. But what I found is that people who use private money are the ones who scale faster, because you'll never have enough money. It just depends on how big you want to get. For some people, hey, they ain't looking to have a big portfolio. They're looking at, if I can add 1 or 2 every other year and this augments my retirement, hey man, that's fine. And then there's some people who really want to do this on a higher level. Now, the people who I'm talking to who are doing it on a higher level, they're not even using their own money. What they're doing is they're using other people's money. So whether it's private money or whether it's grants or whatever it may be, it's out there. So that's why building a brand is so important. Now whether you are, and I'm treading on thin ice here, whether you was for whoever won the presidential election, or whatever else, one of the things that person who won Vice President Trump, President-elect Trump has going for him is that he built a brand. And when you build a brand, people are they attracted to that. Now, whether it's good, bad, or whatever else. But in our case, you have to really build a brand. A brand is simply this: what people know you for. Right? So they have to know, Vanessa, I know she's in that real estate. I know she got some properties in Georgia, whatever else. Or I know Della got some property in Rhode Island. I know Jerome has some stuff. I know Fitzroy is in real estate. So my point being earlier is when people think about you, what do they think about? One of the things you think about when you think about me is what? Real estate. Now, you think about me as a pastor, too, and other things that I do, but one of the things on the top of your list is that, hey, let me call Dexter, or however you know me, PD, as a real estate investor. Well, people have to know you as that, so when they do come into some money, that they may say, hey, look, I heard you, I want to invest in real estate. Now, I know people who, they don't want to fix it, they don't want to flip a house, they don't want to buy and hold, but they have some dollars. Well, what we can do is we can deploy that money either through our fix it flips, or we can go, as Kendra was saying, talking about our friend Tommy, he does stuff with large apartment buildings. So you talk about 200 and 300 unit buildings that, really we toured a number of them when we were in Texas a couple weeks ago, and there are a number of them all around here, all type of. That's all you need. Because really, Vanessa, if you get one or two of those, it's a wrap. It's a wrap because you get the cash flow coming in. You also get the appreciation. You can take that money out. Yep. And so you don't need a lot. You just need a couple of them. And what I'm finding in particular, people who are in that 40, 50, maybe 60 range, it's a great way for you to augment your retirement.
Yep.
And so I did an interview with a person. The person said to me, if a person in their 50, is it too late for them? And I said, no, it's not too late for them. I said, number one, I said two things. I said, and this was the pastor in me, I said, God has placed things on the inside of us that we haven't mined yet. For whatever reason, maybe you raising kids and you going through stuff, whatever. And so I love the story of Colonel Sanders, who started Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was in his, I think, 70s or 80s. Brother was old, what we would call old, but he had a chicken recipe. And a vision, and put it out there. And now, by the time he died, the brother was rich. Yep. And so, all of us got things in us. But then on the other side, so that's the mining piece. But man, if you get a hold of one of these two large apartment buildings that's cash flowing, dude, that will set you up nicely for retirement. You can retire wherever you want. I know Jerome wants to buy an island. You can buy an island doing that. maybe two islands. Because the great thing about, we've talked about just looking up island, they're not even that expensive. I'm like, you could buy this whole island for how much? 500,000, 600,000. You could buy it'll be your own. It'll be Dexter's Island. You can have your own island for less than $1 million most of the time. Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, a lot of times, Vanessa, we don't even look at them. And that's what we're striving to get you to do, is to at least open your eyes and turn your head and become aware of it. Because once you become aware of things, even things like flying private, people don't even think about. I'm like, dude, I want to say flying private. Let's say flying first class. They don't even look at the first class ticket. You just automatically go to coach. So why don't you start with the first class ticket and begin to, now I'm going pastor on y'all tonight, allow God to, open your imagination of what the possibilities are for you. And start believing that you should be living on that level. Once you begin to believe that you can live on that level, now the opportunities and things come your way, because there's just there's a totally different way, a totally different level, and a totally different dimension that you could step into. But if you don't even look at it, well, dude, if you ain't looking at it, how you gonna become aware of it? I can't afford it. How do you know? You ain't even look. So it's a mindset. 100%. And because all of this, real estate, y'all, is just the tool we're talking about. Correct. To get our thinking right. Because Kendra said to me as we came back from Texas, she's like, we thinking too small. Then you said it to me. She said, yeah, one of the biggest things I picked up, because we were just talking about sort of debriefing, after the thing. And she's like, yeah, we're thinking too small.
Well, I can tell you the story. So we went to a conference to speak and also to learn. And they're like, we're going to go see multis. Tommy was like, I always wanted to get into multis. And I'm just like, that's not hard to do. We're in multis.
Yeah.
But then his multis and my multis were totally different. His multis were 300 doors, 100 doors,
99 doors. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that
type of
multi.
large multi-family.
Multi. So you go to these things to expand your vision.
Correct.
And so really he was showing us these, one that they are in the process of owning. And it's a group of people. And then there's another one that they bought last year and have been rehabbing and bringing it up to standard and just making lovely improvements on it. But so that's why we were on that tour.
Yeah,
because
big
he's just like,
time.
and my friends and family can invest in this one, meaning
us
and others that were in the room. But it's just like, never thought we'd ever think about that. But if the opportunity comes to us, and it's a good opportunity, we will take advantage of it. But it is those places that you need to get in the room. You might not feel like you belong there, but you're getting exposed, and you do belong there, just like everybody else, because the people that might be further along, as you've said, they started where we started, and they are now doing these other things.
Exactly.
But it is to expand your vision and to expand what a multi is. Because I was just like, are you talking about three?
We're in multis. He's like, yeah, you are, but I ain't talking about. I'm talking about on another level. Yeah, I'm talking about another dimension. I'm talking about not 300.
300. Like, oh, okay.
So,
but that's the beautiful thing about it, though, right?
Yeah.
Let's go on to number 8.
Number 8.
For real estate investing, wealth generation, cash flow, appreciation, tax benefits, and debt paydown.
Those are the traditional ways that people. Say again?
We didn't get that.
You said that. That's number 8.
Number 8.
The house we got slow.
For real estate investing, wealth generators of cash flow, appreciation, tax benefits, and debt paydown.
There you go. Yeah. So you got cash flow,
which we talked about.
Appreciation.
We've talked about that.
You got tax benefits.
Let's talk about that.
And debt paydown. So we talked about cash flow, meaning whatever you purchase at the end of, after you pay everything off, it needs to what?
Cash flow.
You got to be somebody left over. That's simply cash flow. And number 2, we talked about appreciation. We know there are 2 types, right? There's natural appreciation, there's forced appreciation. So natural appreciation is what all of us have experienced probably if you own some property. You bought it for X and you stay in there for a little bit and over a little bit. You're like, how much is house worth? I paid X, Y, and Z for this. That it has appreciated naturally. Now, forced appreciation is when you buy something, right? And then you force appreciation up by improvements. So maybe you put in a kitchen, you upgrade the kitchen, you upgrade the window, you go on the roof, whatever. Basically what we do, we renovate.
Improvements.
You improve it, and so you bought it for this, and then once an appraiser comes in and say, hey, look, because you did X, Y, and Z, it's worth this. And I like to force appreciation because what that does is that increases your net worth quickly.
Multiplies.
Not that the other appreciation is good because you'll take that too. And so that's the second one. So it's cash flow is what? Appreciation. You got 2 types, right? You got natural and forced. Then number 3, you got the tax benefits. Oh, tax benefits in real estate are phenomenal. There are things called, the biggest one is probably depreciation. Those of you who have done your taxes and your tax person will say, you can depreciate your property by X amount of dollars over a 27-year period, or you can accelerate your depreciation. Now, the great thing about that is this. Not
to stop you, but if your tax people aren't talking to you about that, get a new tax person.
Right, exactly. The depreciation offsets your W-2 income. I'm saying that one more time. Y'all hear me out there on TV land? And particularly if you're a higher income earner, because
you get taxed at a higher tax.
You get taxed at a higher income. But listen, and because this is the deal here, the tax code favors entrepreneurs and real estate people.
Business owners. Yep.
That's what it favors. So when people say, oh my God, it's not fair that they're not paying taxes. Well, the issue is this. You got to get on that side of entrepreneurship and being a real estate person. And so what happens is, so just say that your W-2 income is just say 100,000, 200,000. Well, you can depreciate X amount of dollars based off of your property or properties, and it brings down your taxable income.
Correct.
So that's why a lot of high income people, they throw their money in real estate. I was a guy that you guys have heard me mention who you should follow. 10,000. I'm an exaggeration, but I was mentioned his name a number of times. Myron Gold. You guys heard me mention his name. You should be following him if you aren't. Believe he's next level. But anyway, he's talking about, I just bought a $2 million building. And I bought it because I'm making XYZ money and I need that $2 million building to offset the $15 million I'm making on my other business. See, wealthy people are operating off a totally, to Kendra's point, if your tax person is not, if you're going to, and I'm not knocking H&R Block and all these other little, I'm going to say little because that's derogatory. All these other ones that we sort of are used to running to, they're playing off a totally different playbook. Back to whether you like President Trump or not. When he and Hillary Clinton were having that debate, and she said, "You're not paying any tax." He said, "I'm not supposed to." Well, why is he not supposed to? Well, he's not doing anything. Well, he may be doing something illegal, but I don't know.
On paper.
But I'm talking about as far as taxes are concerned. He knows the tax laws. So if you know the tax laws, right, you play by that. So I read a book years ago, and a guy said the tax code tells you how you should run your finances. Period. And so now, if you like we are, we're still learning, we're still coming on up. You dealt with taxes. As long as I pay my tax by April 15th and I get a refund. Well, do you know that a refund is not the best thing for you to get?
Because they've been using your money for free.
Because they've been using your money all year long. And what is it called? A refund. What is a refund? A refund is when somebody gives you back your money.
Yes.
So they've used your money all year long, and then they give you some sort of refund
with no appreciation, with
no interest.
Yep.
At the end, so I got a tax refund. Well, basically, all they've done is you've overpaid them, and they've used your money all year long. So now, what you and I have not learned to do is we have not learned to put our money to work for us. So that 2,000 actually, because we got $2,000 back. I don't know how we did, but we did this year. Which we ain't got back money in a long time, but a lot of it was because we had written off a lot of stuff for our properties and other stuff like that. But so depreciation is probably the biggest
tax benefit.
So check this out. So your property is doing what? It's
Appreciating.
cash flow. It's cash flowing, right? So you're getting cash flow coming in now.
And
it's doing what? It's appreciating, meaning it's going up in value, and you're getting the tax benefits. So can you see why people, Tommy, back to what he said the other day, he said, the answer is any question you ask me, the answer is real estate.
He did.
He's known like 4 or 5 things. Or he said, the answer is what? Real estate. The answer is real estate. The answer is real estate. The answer is what? Real estate. And as he was talking, I said, that show is the truth. The answer is what? Real estate. Now, I'm saying you're not doing anything else because the other things that we do, but really, if you want to come back and get the tax benefits and all the things we're talking about, back to Myron Golden. I bought a $2.5 million building because I need to offset my business income over here. That's what they're doing. Why do people live in Florida? So thank you. And so they're being very strategic and using real estate as part of their strategy. So when I open up every week and say, we come together every month, we come together to learn how to do what? You learn how to use real estate as a wealth creation tool. I'm not saying that because I'm just saying, I'm trying to get y'all like, listen, we're coming together to learn how to do this and pulling other people into our spheres of influence because to our group, because they have an aspect that we need to learn. And one of it is tax. So one of the person I'm looking for is, I'm going to bring a tax person in 2025 to talk about that because we learned some things about taxes. Yeah, way before April. I'm thinking like January trying to get them in here. Because really, if you think about it, if you only talk to your tax person once a year, you're not talking to them enough.
Nope.
You're not talking to them because the tax person, what they call them a tax strategist. because they may talk to you about setting up different corporations, S corp, C corps, and I'm going to stop there because that's above my pay grade. Just to be honest, I know a little bit about it, but I can't enough to speak intelligently about it. But they're talking about if they're dealing with you, they may say shift your money in this corporation now because you got X amount of dollars coming in. You know what I mean? And so it just depends on that. And so, but real estate has to be part of your tax reduction plan, and in some cases, tax elimination plan.
We only have 8 minutes left, so we're going to jump. Debt pay down, I think we all know what that is.
Do we?
You're paying down your debt.
No, that's not it. Debt pay down is when your tenants pay it.
Yeah, for sure. Someone else is paying your mortgage.
That's a
because
debt
of
pay down.
friends. Yep.
There you go.
All right. All right. Number 9.
You do that because you laughing at that we're doing it.
What?
No,
Do your due diligence. So number 9 is you have to, don't take the word of the seller and do your due diligence, right? If anybody, it's common sense, but we've run across folks that are like, oh, they say this, that, and the other. This, that, and the other is fine. There's a reason why you do. A fix and flip is a little different, right? Because most often you are buying it as is and ugly, and you're paying, the low amount for that because of that, right? But if you are buying something that is for you to, that is move-in ready, and that is something that you're an investment property, you need to still have someone go in there and do, how's the roof? How's the, is it oil? Is it gas? What's going on? And you want a professional to do that because obviously a seller is trying to get as much money as they can and do as little as possible to get that money, right? So make sure you do your due diligence. Trust and verify because there's been a lot of people that have been burned before. And I think that, I don't want to be cynical, but it's business. And
True.
We always want to think the best of people, but sometimes you're just not going to run across people that have your best interests at heart.
No, stuff happens.
And number 10, thou shalt not be afraid to invest in your education.
Yeah, that is one that people struggle with. I had a young man who I was talking to. He wants to be a wholesaler, and he's taken a couple courses, and he needs to take another one. He said, Dexter, I paid X, Y, Z for this course, and I should take another one. I said, why not? I said, how much you pay for college? And he gave me the figure. And I said, didn't you have a new semester? You had to pay new money every semester? Yeah, I said, well, now it's a new semester. because there are different things, like for us, there are things we need to learn. So we need to learn so I'm not expecting not to pay anything to learn that huge multifamily, or we need to learn, talking to somebody about land, like buying land and construction. Well, I don't know anything about that. Well, I'm not expecting to not pay money to learn. And if I said this, I don't know if I said this to you guys, but I said it when I spoke in North Carolina. I said, whatever now all your education doesn't have to be paid. Some of it your $20 book is fine, or this is fine. A lot of this is education, so all of it doesn't have to be paid. Sometimes you can, somebody will mentor you because if you got other skills that you guys barter things. So a lot of ways to get it done. But I think a lot of times we don't invest in ourselves because it's not investing in a course. You're investing in who? Yourself. And I always say this, and then we'll close it out, is whatever you pay for, whether it's $5 or $5,000, we pay as much as $25,000 for coaching, is this. That is the admission price to your next level.
And the money you make off of that investment,
but this gravy
far outweighs the initial investment.
But don't let that what I just said that you go over it, and out here as well as out there. In order for you to get to your next level, there is an admission price. Got it? And so just like you talking about your doctorate, that's an admission. That was an admission price, time, energy, and money, so we can call her Dr. Vanessa. And so a lot of times we run from that. We've been trained, going back to conditioning, we've been trained to not to spend or invest money on things that could take us to a next level, but spend money on things that depreciate.
Correct.
Cars and other type of stuff, or Netflix and whatever else. And I'm not saying those things you shouldn't do, but don't be afraid to invest in whatever your next level is, because it's critical that you do that.
We have 2 minutes left. Any questions? If you want to just give.
It's really a comment how you have re-emphasized the importance of being willing to pay the price.
Yes, yes.
That's,
You have to be willing. And it's the price not only of monetary, like I'm gonna go pay for this course, but it's also the price of putting yourself out there.
Correct.
The price of putting the time in. I was talking to someone like, how do you get all this done? I'm like, nights and weekends and here, there, and everywhere, right? It's are you willing to put the time in? Are you willing to make sacrifices? Until you get where you want to go.
Well, think
but it's,
about-
again, it's the goal in front
Yeah,
of you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are you doing this for? Why is
Right.
it important? You know, for us, it's building generational wealth for our children.
Yeah, helping you guys get to where you need to
helping
go
you guys
and-
get
yeah.
where you need to go.
Well, think about this. We were talking about this, and I said it's not what you do with your 9 to 5; it's what you do from 6 to 10. We spend a lot. How much time people waste scrolling, watching TV, watching Jason Tatum, and watching the Patriots? I'm like, well, dude, they wealthy already. So how much time you gonna spend watching them?
Well, not that they're putting in the time
Yeah.
in the gym to be the athletes, to do the thing, right?
On Sunday, where I went to go do something, I was watching the Patriots. I was watching Steelers
Steelers.
and the Commanders, and I went out just instead. My wife, until the game was 3-4 hours. I'm like, I can't now. This is just me. I can't sit around and watch football all Sunday afternoon. Because that's one game, 2 games, and then I just can't. Because I'm like, I got things I got to do. So give Jerome, then we'll wrap it up.
We have plenty of time, I think, is the moral
We
of
do?
that story.
Yeah. True. Thank you, dear.
So there was a point where you mentioned that you guys were in the middle of a buy and hold,
Yeah.
and you shifted to a wholesale. How did that work? Because I like my concept of buy and hold and wholesale are totally.
Yeah, so we had bought two families in 2 weeks of each other. We had waited one out. There was like just problems with the deed and things of that nature. There was liens on the house or something like that. So in New Bedford, it was in New Bedford. It went from a whole bunch of 2 families for sale to 5. There was only 5 in the whole city, and I said it's only 5 in the whole city. So when there's a little bit of something, right, prices go up.
Yeah.
So I had said to him, we should sell it, and he's just like, nope, we shouldn't. And I'm just like, okay. And then legitimately, like 2 minutes later, Scott called and he's like, you should sell your house. One of them, you should sell one of them. And that's how we did it. So Scott our real estate friend had a buyer, and we just wholesaled it.
So you guys were
We were the
actual
sellers.
already the owners.
We were already the owners,
of the
yep.
property. So okay, got it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
always thought it was like there's some.
No, we had already closed on it. We closed.
It
one
would,
and
it
then-
would be equivalent to a double close.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
You know what I mean? That's what. So if we took it down and then found an end buyer,
Okay.
is what would be that same type of concept.
We just didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. So I tell people we backed into a wholesale. We backed into a
Wholesale one
wholesale
time.
deal.
But it's a business, and that person wanted to pay us a whole bunch of money for that house, and we hadn't started the renovation, so I was like, all right, here you
Yeah,
go, and we
you
made
did anything on that
a
one.
nice little.
We were happy to give them.
We were happy to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
5 figures on
Yeah,
that wholesale
yeah,
deal. Yes, we were.
exactly, yeah.
We were like, thank you.
Okay. You know. So
Didn't plan on it. But
No,
did it.
did not plan on it, but you know that's how it goes.
I have one more. So there was an acronym you use, ARV. What does that
After reno value.
After repair
rental
value.
value.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So basically, what you can sell it for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Market value is what.
So we are a minute over.
All right, give yourselves a hand. So those are the 10 commandments of real estate investing. I actually have 20 of them, but I only put 10, because it's only 10 commandments. So,
There's many more.
So there's
good
another 10
tips.
more that we're actually this is going to be the title of my next book is the 10 commandments of real estate investing. So we'll figure that out. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to Let's Talk Real Estate. Next month, I ain't gonna say who the guest is because I said it last month and we had to change it up. But it's gonna
We'll see
be
you
as
next
opposed to being on the second Tuesday. We're gonna be on the third Tuesday of next month. That will be our last show for the year, and so we will keep you abreast
Yep.
of that. Until next time, be blessed. Bye bye.